All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is Thai Company Gaming here for another live stream. Today is April 18th, 2019. Another, this is going to be part two to the live stream that we were doing the other day about learning Russian. We'll give you all first a quick recap of what we did in yesterday's or the first episode. So, first thing we did was we went over letters. Um, oh, All right, here we go. We have the alphabet here. This is a little bit larger, so I'm going to quickly go over this. We have A, B, V, G, D, E, Ё, Ж, Z, I, краткой, К, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, T, U, F, Х, Ц, Ч, Ш, Ща. Твердый знак И, мягкий знак Ю, Я. And that is kind of a quick overcap of the Russian language there. This is another um, kind of how to pronounce it. If you haven't watched the first episode, I would highly recommend for you to watch it. Um, might as well even put down a link below as well. But um, yeah, that's how you pretty much do the letters. The second thing that we went over were Russian greetings. And we were looking at this website. We had Здравствуйте or Здравствуй. Здравствуйте is what I recommend for you all to practice saying. The funny thing is, for some reason, a lot of people don't pronounce the first V, but Здравствуйте, which is your former hello. You have Allo, which is your greeting on the phone. Um, kind of means hello, but it's what you say over the phone. Uh, Привет. Привет is your informer hello, kind of like saying hi. Приветик is your like also informal hello, but it's seen more feminine. I went a little bit more over this in another episode. What I mean by it seems feminine, as in like you usually hear it to like girls usually would be saying it in very informal settings, but that's kind of the case of that. We have Hayushki. Hayushki is an Anglicism, which um, is derived from a common English word, so hi, Hayushki, or you have like hi here. So it's sort of like it's a slang word. Um, it's kind of like a modern Russian made up word almost. Because I don't know if it's in the Russian dictionary. I don't think it is. But it's just a little slang term there. Uh, you have here is Zdarova or Zdorova, depending on how you pronounce it. When stress is on the second O, it's a greeting. Zdarova or Zdorova. Zdarova, Zdorova. So first is a greeting, second is like cool, well done. Доброе утро. It's good morning. Добрый день. Good day. Добрый вечер. It's good afternoon. Добрый ночь. I don't really hear it say ночи. Ночи is like nights, like plural. I usually just hear доброй ночь, but that's honestly it's kind of common. But you might hear it доброй ночь, which is good night. Good night. Спокойной ночь is I'd almost call it like compared to like sweet dreams. Um, or it's kind of like good night, or it's meant to as a farewell before bed. Is it on it? Literal translation is calm night here. So it's kind of a quick recap of what happened in episode one. All right. And also I'm still a little sick, so that's why I sound off. So I am going to do this. I'm going to continue on some more greetings here first, and then go into practicing some words. So first you have here Добро пожаловать, which is welcome. And I would translate to like good welcome, sort of. Добро пожаловать. Next one is рад тебе, рада, рада тебе, рада вас. So usually you say rad or rada, depending on if it's male or female. Тебе or vas, which is like you informal, vas is formal. Видеть. So what does this translate to? Basically, it's nice to see you. Is English like how it translates to, but literal translation is like happy or like ecstatic to you all to see, kind of like happy to see you all. That's more to what it means. So yes, as you can see here, men would use rad. We would say rada. If the situation is formal, you would use vas. You can also use tibia in informal situations. So four variations. Male informal, rad vas видеть. Male informal, rad тебя видеть. If you're female in a formal, rada вас видеть. If you're female in an informal situation, rada тебя видеть. So next you have here like how you're doing phrases. So first one I'm going to show you is kind of a very formal one, but I don't really hear it often. Um, Как поживаете? Как поживаете? Or поживаешь? Поживаешь. So KAK is how. So how you're doing. Now, поживаешь, if I'm not mistaken, I think it means, yeah, pretty much how you doing. I think it's more like how you living. If that makes more sense. So how you doing? Again, now this is sort of weird. Go back to that example here. Oh, they don't have it here. Okay, when a verb or like something ends in like te, usually it's like a formal. Um, it's kind of a good rule of thumb, but I'll be going more into that later. But right now, just try to memorize what these are. Practice saying it. Как поживаете? Как поживаешь? So how are you doing? What is this? Как поживаешь is informal. Поживаете, the те part makes it formal. Um, and you have three common responses here. Хорошо, плохо, неплохо, and плохо. Хорошо, неплохо, плохо. So good, not bad, bad. As you can tell, не is like you're not. Um, как дела is how's it going? Like how are you? But it's informal, and as you can say, as you can see here, you can see a more formal version of как у вас дела. That's considered formal. Next one, как жизнь. Жизнь is like how's life. Жизнь. 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 Жизнь is how you would say that. How's life, but it's informal. This is like a Russian idiom here. Как делишки, как детишки. Как делишки is informal, like really like more formal version of how you doing. Like how are the doings, if that makes sense. Как делишки, как детишки. Детишки is like a very informal way of just saying kids, so this is what it means. How's it going? How are the kids? But it's a Russian idiom because they rhyme. Как детишки, как делишки, как детишки. So that's a Russian idiom here. While it might not be the most common greeting on the list, it's one of the most like colorful. Um, in the sense that it's like unique. Um, However, people may ask you this even if you don't have kids, which yeah, it's kind of like the joke of it. Um, Now here's what they're saying here. But why would someone ask about your kids if you don't have them? You ask. Probably mostly because of the fun rhyme, which really rolls off the tongue. Как делишки, как детишки. So next we have here что нового. So this is kind of a weird one. Нового is how you would pronounce that, not нового. You know that's how it's pronounced. I mean written. Что нового. That's how you will hear it, but it means what's new. So that's sort of a regular thing there. It's commonly used between friends, but it's kind of like what's new, what's up. So I'm gonna quickly go through this recap over. Добро пожаловать, which means welcome, is used can be used formally or informally. Рад, рада, тебя, вас видеть. So I would say formally, like most likely what maybe would do it as a male. Рад вас видеть. Then there's a male informal. Рад тебя видеть. Female informal рада вас видеть. Female informal рада тебя видеть. Как поживаете? Как поживаешь? So, formal, informal. Responses can be хорошо, хорошо, неплохо, not bad, which is kind of the same thing as good, or плохо, bad. Как дела? How's it going? Как жизнь? How is life? I usually hear it more like как жизнь. Sometimes I hear it like that, but basically как жизнь is I think the correct way to do it, if I'm not mistaken. Как делишки, как детишки. Like, how's it going? How are the kids? But as a Russian idiom, sort of like a tongue twister, basically, is what I would call it. Как делишки, как детишки. Then you have что нового, which is what's new. All right. So if you practice that with the greetings from the other day, they will definitely help. All right, let's look up some Russian names and English equivalents. Here we go. So I'm gonna go for some. Now the thing is, these are so these are kind of like these are not written in Russian letters, but I'll tell you what is true and what is not, and I'll pronounce them the way that they would typically be pronounced in Russian. So you have Abraham, let's say Abram. However, in Russian culture, Abram is not really tends to be, or at least with the people who I speak with, more of like considered to be more like a Jewish name, more like Hebrew name. But it depends on who you're asking. It's just something that happens in my area. But it means Abraham. Abram, Abraham. This one is a really unusual name. I've never heard of anyone with this name. I think this is pronounced Afanasiy. But I wouldn't even like bother to remember this name. I think Abram might be important. This one's supposed to be Agafia, which is a name that's somewhat common, uncommon. I don't really hear it often. Equivalent would be a Agatha, or which I think would be the closest to that, but I've never heard anyone in English name that. Agafia, I might hear that. Agathon apparently is the equivalent of Gaston, but I don't hear that ever in Russian, so that's like a maybe. Agrafina. Might hear it also as Agrafina, but usually Agrafina is a kind of a Russian derivative of what in English would be like grace. But yeah, it's basically related to grace, is what I would consider the equivalent would be. This is Aksenia. Not the exact Russian equivalent of Alexandra, but sort of like a more Slavic styled version of Alexandra. You also have Alexandra, which I think is what Alexandra would be. Akulina, equivalent of Colleen, but I don't really hear this. Aldukim, never heard of that. Alexander, which is Alexander. Alexei, equivalent to like Alex or Alec. Shorter version of Alexander. I would say it's more like Alex, sort of. It's a little bit of variations there. Anastasia, similar to Anna or Anne. Kind of similar to Nancy. Mabel doesn't make any sense to me. Natalie, I wouldn't say that I disagree. So I would say it's closer to like Anna or Nancy, maybe a little bit of both. Andrei, Andrew. Anisia, never heard of that. But basically it's a more Slavic version of Anna. Anna is Anna. Anton is Anthony. Aprosinia, never really heard of that name either. Arefei, sort of similar to Arthur, but I've also heard Artur. I've heard that before in Russian. Basically, that's I think they both would work for Arthur. For Archie, I don't know. I don't think so. Avdotia, I think this is like close to Dora or Doris, but I don't hear it in Russian. Daniel, basically Daniel or Dan. Daria, basically Doris, Dorothy, kind of equivalent there. Dimitri apparently is equivalent of James or Jim. I'm not sure about that. Would have to look that up because I've also heard Demetrius, um, which I guess is more Greek than anything. Let's see what else here. Let's see. Efim, I've never heard of that. Igor, closer to George. Ekaterina, Catherine, Katie, Kate, Kathleen. Elena, um, closer to like Lillian. Elsie, I've never heard Elsie, but maybe. Elistrat, never heard of that. Elizaveta, basically one version of how some people say Elizabeth. Evgenia, sort of like Jenny or Evgeny, Eugene. So Evgenia, Evgeny, male, feminine, male, female. Evsei, derivative of Joseph. Um, how long's our live stream been going, by the way? 24 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this up at the 30-minute mark. So I'm gonna go to F here. Fadier, never really heard of that. Fedosei, Fedosia. I guess that's similar to like Florence. Because I've heard Florencia, Fedosia. I think that's more connected there. Never heard anyone named Fanny in English. Fedot, maybe Fred. Filat, maybe some derivative of Philip. Philippe is Philip. Fyodor is like Theodore. Frol, never heard of that. So let's go over the ones I think are important here. Abram, you might hear that fairly commonly, so I think that's good. Aksenia, you might hear also like an O, like Oksenia. Also, you might hear without like a vowel, you might hear it as Ksenia. Sort of like I've heard Susie, Susan. It sort of is like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Colina, maybe, but I've never really heard of that. Alexander, Alexandra, both you will hear in Russian. Alexei, you'll hear. Anastasia, you'll hear. Andrei, you hear. Anna, yes. Anton, yes. Daniel, you'll hear. Dmitry, you'll hear. Daria, maybe. Igor, you'll hear more like Igor, but Igor, or that's how you say it. Um, Ekaterina, you might hear Yekaterina. That's Catherine or Kate, Katie. Elena or Yelena. Um, Lillian, Elsie, Evelyn, a little bit of that. But I've also heard Evelina, Evelina, which is more like Evelyn. Elizaveta, it's like Elizabeth. Evgenia is Jean or Jenny. Evgeny is Eugene. Evsei is very rare. You'll hear that, but that's like Joseph. Philip is Philip. Theodore is Theodore. Gavrila is like Gabriel. Grigory is Gregory or George. Gerasim, I've never heard of that, but that's apparently like Harry or Harold. So it's sort of like, what is that, A to G there? Alright, so that's pretty much lesson 2 right there. This one I had to cut short because I'm still very sick, which happens to be the case right now. And because of that, I'm extremely difficult for me to speak. But yeah, we stopped here at your G and H here, so we'll continue doing that. But what I want to be able to start doing as a goal is to, pretend you're some name or some person here, a Russian name, and go up to someone and have like a pretend conversation, be like, have like a formal conversation, have like an informal conversation, be like, as an example, um, like Здравствуйте, Иван, меня зовут Андрей. So it's like, hello, I'm, this person, I'm that person. But that's what the idea behind it is that you'll practice the names and the greetings. I would say the greetings are a little bit more important to go over since they're maybe a little bit more challenging. The names kind of come quicker. But yeah, if you like this video, thank you for watching. Share with your friends and family. Please subscribe if you're new. We'll be making more videos. Those are the plans as of so far. Please feel free to write down any questions that you might have in the comments section, and hopefully I'll be able to get to them, and I'll be glad to help and address anything that you might have for next time. All right, so see you all next time. Have a good day now. Bye now.